Welcome to the Simpler Business Podcast, where we talk about ways to do what you love and serve your people in a way that brings you income and freedom. I'm your host, Marissa Roberts. Join me as I chat with my favorite entrepreneurs about how they simplify their biz so that you can simplify yours. So many of us think owning a business is going to give us better work-life balance than a 9 to 5 or working under someone else. But the reality is many new business owners end up working 24/7, burning out, getting sick, and it's almost seen as a rite of passage for business owners. And then at that point, we start to make the necessary changes. But wouldn't it be nice if we could skip that struggle and simply follow a better path from the start? If you're not enjoying your day-to-day journey in building your business, you're not going to be able to fully enjoy or appreciate your results when you do start seeing your definition of success. My guest today is on a mission to show entrepreneurs that the possibilities of what they can achieve in life is truly limitless, and that the only thing that is stopping them from getting from where they are now to where they want to be is their mindset and skill set, both of which you have the power to shift. Emily-Jane Sarroff is a graduate of architectural design, Jay Shetty certified life coach, business mentor, social media figure, host of the Empower with M podcast, and a 6-figure business owner. Her goal is to help people build their biz around their dream lifestyle and not let their business dictate their life. You know that I am all about the shorter, more cruisy work day, so I am very excited to have Em on board with us. I'm a big believer in doing what you love and finding easy, fun, enjoyable ways to do it. So to talk about guilt-free fun is going to be really such a good chat. Welcome, Em. I'm so happy that you're here.
Thank you, Marissa. I'm so excited to be here and have this conversation with you today.
Oh my gosh, I think our listeners are going to love it, because our listener base tends to be those people who have started businesses and they're in, say, years 1 to 3 of their business, sometimes 4 and 5. And they all have this kind of feeling like, right, if I've started my own business, I have to be a professional business owner. I've got to tick all the boxes. And that shift from corporate to business still feels quite corporate in the first year, as you feel like you've got to live up to other outside expectations. Do you find that with your clients as well?
Oh, massively, especially because majority of my clients are like in that beginning stage of transitioning from their 9 to 5 into their online business. They feel like they need to show up as a certain way of like how society has defined professional to be. And so it's a really exciting journey as I go through with my clients and help them like shed that old belief and that old image of what professional is and actually dive into recreating their own brand and their own image of what a professional online business owner looks like.
Yeah, I love that. And it's funny because I've been online for about 12 years now, working online in a couple of different businesses. And I think to myself, when I look back at some of the big names that I love following, if I go on that Wayback Machine archive, that internet archive, and I look up their super old websites, they do the same thing too. They started off very corporate-y and very wooden, and they got more relaxed and more into who they are. And it's when you kind of sink into that who you really are that I think people resonate with you more. Sales are easier. You connect better with your ideal customer. Everybody wins, right?
Completely. And it's such a journey of self-discovery as well. And oftentimes, like as you're stepping into that business space, it's the most intentional environment you've ever been in to actually do that self-discovery. So it's really beautiful to actually watch people unfold and step into their most authentic self through business.
Yeah, it really is. All right. So if we can see that happening though, or we can see other people really making it work with their business and tuning into who they are, why do you think as business owners, we tend to feel guilty for having fun, especially in those first few years?
I guess one thing, right, when it does come to business and it does come to working, we're kind of conditioned to believe that we have to work really hard to succeed. And, when we look at the corporate space and we see the 9 to 5 structure, it's not really putting fun and joy and lifestyle as top priority, right? It's that whole trade time for money structure, which doesn't really support that. So it's kind of like when you step into business and you're wanting to start to prioritize creating more fun, creating more joy, like prioritizing lifestyle as you're building your business. It's just a totally new territory that not a lot of people are used to. And it's about having to really reprogram those old beliefs that success can only come from one specific path and actually begin to look for evidence of how you can create success, particularly in the business space, whilst incorporating joy and fun in the journey rather than waiting for it to just come at a destination.
Yeah, that's a good point. I remember when I was in corporate, and not just corporate either, hospitality, retail. I worked in all those industries before I started my own business. And I remember it was kind of the same thing. It was like you were valued more based on the harder that you worked. But it
Yeah.
was a really weird disconnect because if somebody came in at 6 a.m. instead of 9 a.m. and worked all the way till 6 p.m., they were like, this person's such a hard worker. But I would get the same amount of work done in the shorter time frame that I was meant to be at work, but they would be seen as the harder worker and the more successful person. And I feel like that was a bit hard to let go of when I first started my business. Like I had that mentality of people need to see that I'm working really hard and that's how they're going to trust that I'll get them results. Whereas actually, the easier, the better, really.
That's it, right? And I even can resonate with that with my own experience of when I stepped into the business space. So I always looked up to my dad, who was like very big in business, very successful in all the careers that he's had in his life. But in order to have that success and in order to have those careers, I saw that he had to work really, really, really hard for that. And he had to sacrifice a lot for that. So when I stepped into the business space as well, like that was what my belief was. If I'm going to succeed in business, I need to work and run my business the way that my dad has run his businesses and the way that he has built his careers. And I learned within my first year of business that that just did not feel good for me. It did lead me to burning out, modeling this route to success that I had seen as I was growing up. And then that really made me start to question after I made my first six figures. And I felt so miserable because I realized how much I had sacrifice that really I valued. And I realized that I had lost myself in the pursuit of trying to accomplish a goal. I recognized that that wasn't how I wanted to go on to build my business from there. And so the last 2 years since then has really been this massive journey of recreating a path that supports me, still making six figures and still, scaling my business, but in a way where my lifestyle, my joy, my happiness, my health, all those things that I value are top priority for me.
Yeah, I love that. And same, when I first started my original business at Beautifully Organized, I would go to other mums' houses and help them organize them, right? So that their day would flow better with young children. Great concept, right? I burnt out within 3 months.
Oh,
3 months because I was so exhausted having to go and do massive organizing sessions. My house was messy. My kids, I was too tired to play with them. And then thank goodness I found YouTube, which I thought was just an outlet for me, a way to relax. I would watch YouTube videos and then ding, this thing went off in my head where I went, why am I not just sharing organizing tips on YouTube and selling it as an online course? Like, why do I have to go and work 8 hours a day when I can share the exact same information 24/7 and people can buy it whenever they want? And it was like a little aha moment in my head. And suddenly life was so much more fun. It was fun being on YouTube. It was fun selling courses. It took no time at all once it was set up. It was like ding, ding, ding on my phone overnight. So nice to wake up to sales, isn't it?
yeah. And that's a big shift even in the business space of recognizing, okay, I'm self-employed right now and I want to be a business owner, right? Because when we're self-employed, it's the same time for money trade, it's just we are employing ourselves rather than someone else employing us versus when we're a business owner, we're actually thinking in that way of how can I be making money without having to trade all my time and energy in order to have that.
Yeah. All right. So for people who are listening who are going, okay, I want to have some guilt-free fun as a business owner, what are some practical steps they can take, like something they can action?
Yeah, well, one of the first things is setting strong boundaries. That was one of the first things I actually did for myself. I had a look at my schedule and I recognized that I was working Monday to Sunday in my business, and those hours could have been like 5 a.m. till 10 p.m., right? And so actually having a look at your schedule, your routines, your life, your relationships, whether that be clients, relationships, or just personal relationships, and setting boundaries across the board so that you actually have restraints within your business. You have time frames that you're working within so that you're not overstretching those and ultimately working inefficiently. Instead, if you can be setting those boundaries for yourself, and let's say you want to work Monday to Friday, and maybe you do start off with a 9 to 5 breakdown in that very beginning stage of your business, and eventually that could become 10 to 2, or whatever you want that to look like. But having those solid boundaries around when you start and when you stop, and actually respecting that, so that you can then start to see the off time that you do have away from your business, and you can start to explore, well, what do I want to be spending that time doing that's actually going to allow me to fill my cup up more?
Yeah, I really like that. I think boundaries is really, it's also the easiest step you can take, right? Because it's kind of a data-based decision. So it's not an emotionally charged one. And I have to admit, when I purposely shorten my work days, it's like it forces me to get the urgent and important things done. And the rest is like, I can wait till tomorrow. Because honestly, you know that feeling that you get when you first start your business and you're like, okay, I've got today's to-do list done. I'm just going to get a head start on tomorrow's to-do list. And that's how you end up working 12-hour days. You're like, I'll just get a head start on tomorrow so I don't have to work as hard tomorrow. And then tomorrow you're like, I'll just get a head start on the next day. And
Yeah.
it doesn't change it at all.
Well, something I learned about to-do lists is they're never going to be done, right? There's always going to be more things popping up. And that's why we need those boundaries to be able to go, okay, cool, it's time to shut the laptop now, and it's time to go wind down. It's time to go spend quality time with my loved ones. These tasks aren't going anywhere. In fact, this list is just going to keep on getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So I'm going to close the book and I'm going to come back to it tomorrow.
Yeah. And nothing that we do, unless you're an ER doctor, nothing that we do is life or death. Like it feels urgent, but it's not actually something that necessarily has to be done in that moment. People are pretty understanding if things take you a regular amount of time to do them and you're not working 24/7.
Completely.
So, what about having fun in your business? What does that look like to you? Because I know it's important to work the fun into it so that you want to show up every day or show up on a regular basis. But I think people are like, yeah, but how do I actually make it fun? What fun things can I add? Have you got any tips to share there?
Yeah. Well, that's going to look different for everyone. So the first thing is to actually reflect and ask yourself, what does fun look like for me? What are things that I enjoy doing within my business? And what are things that I enjoy doing outside of my business, and get crystal clear on what that looks like for you. It could look like traveling. It could look like going for coffee with girlfriends in the morning. It could look like going for walks on the beach at sunset. It could look like, creating artwork. Right? For me, I love creating artwork. That's fun for me outside of my business. So it's about doing that self-reflection to see what does fun actually look like for you, and then creating intentional space in your schedule to actually be doing that. So for me, across last year was a year for me where I had come out of some massive challenges that I had gone through in my relationships, which had stretched me a lot within my business. And so 2023, I was like, okay, this is the year that I am prioritizing fun and creating more joy in my life. So what that looked like for me in 2023 was moving overseas for 5 months and just hopping around different countries, taking my business with me, feeling the freedom that I've been able to create for myself online and fully soak that up. Now this year, fun looks very different for me in a sense that I'm back home and I'm all focused on creating more stability in my life, putting some more, roots in place. And so fun is about creating space in my mornings to go to the gym, space in my afternoons to spend with my boyfriend and my friends, more of those simple pleasures at the moment. So what does fun and joy look like for you at the moment? And how can you bring more of that into your work week or onto your weekends if you're finding you're very tight for time in your week because you're juggling a 9 to 5 whilst building your business?
Yeah, I think we lose touch with the things that we find fun when we're so focused on work. But you're right. If you just make sure you've got time to do them, it's almost like you need to remind yourself at the start and put it in your calendar
We
to
do.
do it. Yeah. Yeah.
Often, my clients who are working 9 to 5 jobs still and building a business around that, obviously they're very tight for time because their Monday to Fridays are already, committed to something else. So it's really the weekends they have to work with. And they'll come to me at times, and every single one of them have experienced this. They said, I don't feel joy in my business. I don't know why I'm doing this now. I don't know why I'm putting myself through all of this pain. And I'm like, when was the last time you scheduled out a day to just have fun and not even think about work or business? And they go, you're right. I haven't. And then I'll tell them, okay, this weekend, do you need 1 day or do you need 2 days? Block it into your schedule right now. And do not touch your business. Do not touch work. Just commit the weekend to actually doing things that are going to fill up your cup. And they always come back the next week and they say, wow, I needed that. I have refound like my drive, my passion for why I'm doing this. And that's such a strong reminder of how important it is to be intentional about creating that space to just have more fun in and amongst the goals that you are working towards.
Yeah. And you know what? I think to myself, when I go and do something creative, because I like puzzles, I like reading, I like playing the piano, I like bubble baths and taking naps and stuff like that as well. I like going to the movies every Thursday while everyone else is at work and school. Me and one of my besties, we go to the movies, we sit in gold class and relax. And you know what? Some of our best creative ideas for the business come from that downtime because my mind is like not stressed anymore. And
Yeah.
I just have this amazing little, oh, I could add this and I could do that, or I could do this to make it easier. It just comes out of nowhere.
That's it, right? Because our logical and our creative minds, like they're two different sides of our brain. And if we are so deep in our logical problem solving, like that masculine to do side of our brain all the time, of course, we're not going to feel inspired. Of course, we're not going to feel creative. So we have to intentionally create that shift and create that space to actually allow us to get more into that flow state where our creativity is really going to come up.
Yeah, it's so worth it. So I guess my next question would be, if we're doing these fun things on the side, what are your thoughts of sharing on socials, for example, that you are doing them and actually bringing that in as kind of a cameo of your business? Like this is what I'm like as a person, not just a business owner. What do you think about that?
100%. You should be sharing that no matter what, because that is a part of your personal brand. And this again comes back to that limiting belief of like, what does a professional business owner look like? And I always say to my clients, you need to be showing both sides. You need to be showing the life you live, the things you enjoy, because that is a part of your personal brand. And that is going to be something that helps build that like, no trust factor with your audience, because people are going to be able to connect with you and resonate with you. And also, they're going to be able to see, like, if they're wanting to create more joy in their life and more fun in their life, they can see that you're embodying that for yourself as well. So that's a really important piece when it does come to branding and it does come to sales in the online space.
Yeah, that's true. I find that the better I feel in my life, the easier the sales flow anyway, because I don't have this needy air about me when I'm making an offer. I have this relaxed vibe, like, here's how my offer is going to help you. Here's how to get it if you want it. Whereas in the first year of my business, I was like, please buy my offer. I really need to make this sale. It's a very different energy, right?
And even on that note, like show the duality, right? Show the moments where you are having fun, when you are feeling joy, but also show the opposite side of the scale. Sometimes, business owners fear showing that side where, they don't feel like showing up that day. Maybe they're going through something tough and they feel like if they show that, then again, like people aren't going to want to invest in them because of whatever limiting story they're telling yourself. But again, like that duality is a part of your personal brand. We all go through the highs and the lows, and it's so safe to be able to share those lows with your audience as well. That is authenticity right there.
Yeah, and I think that makes us super relatable. It makes people think, this person gets what I'm going through because obviously they're going through it as well, or they have gone through it in the past. And I think about people I follow on socials who, a lot of my clients are like, oh, we have to be glammed up to do a video. And I'm like, you can be, but look at all this person, and this person who is doing really well, who is sharing a mix of glam stuff and also behind the scenes, no makeup in your PJs, doing the school drop off. It actually makes you a real person behind the business. And people buy off people, not off brands in a lot of cases. Yeah.
Exactly that.
Wow. Okay. So I feel like this has been a real light bulb for me because I have always I've always loved adding fun stuff to my life, but always felt a little bit like, oh, maybe I shouldn't share it. Like it doesn't want to look like, I don't want it to look like bragging, but I feel like it's not actually bragging. It's just sharing, right?
And from a marketing perspective, like it's not branding. What that is showing the desire, showing the transformation that your ideal client wants. And we can look at it from two perspectives, because there's always going to be two different types of people that do see your content. There is going to be the person who sees you, you know, sharing how happy you are, how much abundance you have in your life. And that person is going to go, wow, I can't believe that you're bragging and slapping that in my face when that is something that I don't have. And that person, that's just a reflection of where they are at within their own self, right? If they're being triggered by what you're putting out there, then there's some inner work that they need to do to get to the other side, where there's that person who sees that and goes, wow, I am so inspired. Thank you for showing me what can be possible for my life as well. And that is the person that we want to be posting for, because that is the person who is ready to receive and is going to want your support.
Yeah, it really comes back to the same thing over and over again. You can't change anyone else's internal story,
Yeah,
and your marketing's going to attract your ideal clients. You don't have to attract everybody, you just got to attract the ones that are ideal for you.
exactly.
Yeah. Oh, Em, I love this discussion. This is amazing. And I have a feeling our listeners are going to want more from you. So I know you have a resource that you want to share with them. Do you want to tell us a bit about that?
For sure. So I put together a massive training, which actually breaks down the complete six-figure system that I teach my students inside of my signature mastermind. And the reason why I put this six-figure system training together was because I do recognize that there's a lot of people out there that are just wanting to start to get the ball rolling on their business, but have zero awareness around what they actually need to be doing. So inside my six-figure system training, I break down the full system that allowed me to build my business to six figures in just 8 months at the age of 22. So I can give that to you guys as a link for you to opt into that, so that you can check it out and you can gain all of that juicy information for yourself.
Beautiful. That's going to be a very inspiring thing to do, I think. And if people want to chat with you more, what's the best way for them to find you? Is it socials, email, on your website? How do they look you up?
Instagram is where I'm most active. So I'm Empower with M on Instagram. And if you just want to listen to my voice more and learn more from my journey, you can also check out the Empower with M podcast.
Oh, yes. Okay. So I'll leave a link in the show notes to the six-figure systems, to your Instagram, and to your podcast as well. So it's nice and easy to find.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for being on the show. I have loved our chat. And now I feel like, well, I'm done with work for the day. I'm going to go get a facial or a massage and do
I
something fun.
love that. I'm very much having a slow day today too. It's like bang on 10 a.m. and I'm like, sweet, time to just like go with the flow of whatever I feel like doing creatively today.
Yeah, we're done with work for the day, because actually this chat alone is part of our marketing strategy, right? We get to help people and reach more people at the same time. And it's been really fun doing it. So thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you. I appreciate your time.
And for everybody listening out there, I hope you've enjoyed this conversation with Em as much as I have. Head on over to Apple Podcasts and let us know what you think, because when you give us reviews for the show, we get an indication of what you want to learn and what you want to talk about. And that's exactly what we want to deliver, is topics that are going to be helpful and relatable for you. So head on over there and let us know what you think. You can also find us both on Instagram. I'll leave links in the show notes. We would love to hear your thoughts on adding more fun to your business and your life as well. And I will see you all in the next episode. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Simpler Business Podcast. If you did, please subscribe, rate, and review us on Apple Podcasts. There's a link in the show notes to make it nice and easy for you, just the way we like it. If you're ready to simplify and scale your business, you can get started with my free audio class at marissaroberts.com. See you next time.